Hi everyone, Leani Lopez here with another episode of I Got Nothing, a podcast for exhausted writers. I am joined by a fellow exhausted writer. Please introduce yourself.
Annette Ortiz Mata.
Everybody
Yes.
laughs at that because we are so tired.
Yes. I don't think people realize what goes into this process and this experience and how long I think what folks don't realize is how long we've been doing this to get to
Yes.
where we're at. And so, yeah, I have been writing for about 10 years. It's going to be 10 years. Blogging mostly. I started my writing journey rather, blogging. Someone said, you should start a blog, and I did. And that was kind of where I landed to see if people were even interested in my writing style and my thought process. And that birthed the first book. So it kind of started from there. But you're writing forever. I mean,
Oh
it's
yeah.
exhausting.
It
It's
really
exhausting to say the least.
is. And that's kind of where this title came from. My sister
Mm.
and I were, typical Puerto Rican fashion in the basement talking. And we were just going over ideas and talking about doing a writing podcast because she writes as well. And we were trying
Mhm.
to come up with names. And it just, nothing was, we were both tired. We both have
Yeah.
kids. They're around the same age. And so I was just like, I got nothing. And then we just did the point, like, oh my
That was
God,
it. Aha moment. That's it. We got it.
we got
Yeah,
it.
it's so funny because when you're writing books, I'm on my third. For my first two books, one was a faith-based book. The second was parenting, and then I was kind of challenged by my niece, if you will, to write a novel. And like you're a great storyteller. I think there's a story in you. You should write nonfiction. I mean, a fiction. And I said, what? There's no way. That's not in my wheel. My legal training, you just, you stick to the facts. You don't color things up. And anyway, I took on the challenge because it was in a window of time that three people told me you should write a novel, and I thought there's no way. And I took on the challenge. It took me 2 years to really feel like I got it right, and I was ready to release it out to the world, and that's what I did. That's the latest project that I have out right now.
That's
But it was
awesome.
something that was truly exhausting and very difficult for me. And you just don't realize as a writer, if this is the only thing you do, if writing is the only thing you have on your docket for the day,
Yeah.
then God bless you.
Yeah.
But if you work and you have little kids or you have a life, a parallel life, and
Yeah.
you're writing, oh my goodness, that is a lot. Um, and so I wrote my first book while going to law school, and I thought, why did I think this was a good idea? And I did. And I released it, and I look at it and I go, that was a passion project, sincerely, because I don't know what I was thinking. So I was like, I have to write this out because I'm having this, experience in my faith, and I got to write about it. And I
Yeah.
did, and it was fine. And then my second book, Parenting in the Dark, was also based on an experience that I was having with my oldest son that we walked through that was really challenging. And I thought, you know what? I got to write this down. I got to put it on paper. I got to share this story so other people could have hope in the midst of a really difficult situation. And that became a book that was very intentional and very focused. I wasn't doing two things. I had already gotten my degree. I was now pivoting in life. And then my novel, which is my latest book, The Secrets We Keep, The Lies We Tell, that book came right when empty nesting. My oldest is in my youngest rather is in college. My oldest is stable, doing well, also in college. Everybody was in their respective lanes,
Yeah.
and the challenge came on, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna. This is all I got. Let's go. This is it. And I have to tell you, it was very challenging. The process was grueling because when you're studying law, the training is stick to the facts. Don't
Yeah.
flower, don't add, don't fluff up the story. What happened, when it happened, how it happened, and that's it. when you're writing a novel, you got to color the story. You got to set dress. You got to put descriptions. You got to put a flower on the table.
Yeah, you got to unlearn everything you just learned. You got to do the complete opposite.
And people don't understand. They're like, "Oh my gosh, this was amazing." I'm like, guys, it shouldn't have taken me 2 years to write this book. But I had other people read it because I started doing these master classes on novel writing and fiction, and because I was like, wait, why am I struggling so much with this process?
Mm-hmm.
I realized because my training was the opposite, right? So now you're going into a writing style that is completely the opposite.
Yeah.
I needed people who were novel writers, readers to read it as I was as I was writing it, to tell me, is there value in this? Is it interesting? Does it need more? What is it lacking? I feel like there's something, it's incomplete.
Yeah.
And it was the set dressing. It was the descriptions. It was what was the smell like? What was the color like? How did you feel? Was it gripping? Were you scared?
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, okay. So yeah, the novel, that writing of my novel was really, this is all I got. And people are waiting for a second book, a second novel, and I'm like, are you kidding me? You honestly want me to go back to that feeling of, oh my Lord, I have to undo so much training to write something to make it believable, interesting, gripping, page turning, all the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I appreciate your title. I was drawn to it right away when I saw the title. I was like, yeah, listen, that was the state I was in 2 years. And then after it was done, because one of the things that people say is when you're writing a book and you think you're done, then you go, wait, no, I could have done this. I could have changed it. As it's published now and people are enjoying it, I have read it several times going, oh, I should have added this. I should have put this in there. So it's never done for the writer. It's just never, right? Nope. It's always unfinished.
Yeah.
And it's that weird feeling that you go, okay, when you give it out to the world, you're like, okay, was that good enough?
Yeah.
Was that good enough? And then you just walk away and go, yeah, that's it. That's all I had. That's all I got. And that's as much as I'm gonna,
Yeah, you kind of have to draw that line yourself, and you kind of have to tell yourself, yes, it's good enough, because otherwise you will never finish a story or you'll never release anything, because you're going to be trying to chase perfection, which just does not exist.
I had a conversation not too long ago with someone who wanted to have a Zoom conversation regarding his writing, and he was writing jointly with his spouse, and they wanted to, it was a very interesting topic. And so he had this focus, or obsession rather, to get it right.
Oh.
And I finally had to say to him, when you just got to put a period and walk away from it, because you just got to walk away, because you're going to publish it and go, I didn't get it right. I should have added. I should have. And he goes, well, I can't put something out like that. And then I said, well, then you're never going to put anything out.
Yeah, then this is probably not the career for you.
Exactly. This is not where you should be focusing your energy. And I just thought it was so weird for that person to be so obsessed with, I got to get it right. And I thought, that's a weird, I suffered a little bit of that when I was writing the novel, because I've written nonfiction twice, and I felt that the nonfiction was really my wheelhouse. So when I started writing the novel, I thought, well, I don't know if I'm going to get this right, but I got to try. And when I sent it out to certain people to read, I sent it out to 3 people that I trusted to read as I was writing. They were so engrossed by the story that it was giving me the impetus, like, okay, you're getting it right. You're getting it right. You're getting it right.
That's how you know you get it right. Like
exactly.
That's the measure of getting it right, is that you hook somebody. Not that it's perfect or it's exactly, because most stories don't come out exactly how you first thought of them. Because once you get into the story itself and you let the characters develop, any good writer lets the story flow. And
Yeah.
I noticed when I've had writing blocks, it's when I wasn't letting the story be the story. I was trying to like force it to go a certain way.
Yeah.
And I was having that with my current book that I've been working on for a while, but I finally finished the first full draft a couple months
Nice.
ago.
Nice.
And it was a story I had to keep putting on the back burner. But I was able to finish because there was these 2 chapters that were just really bugging me. Like, no matter how, like, when I got into them, it just felt forced. And then when I took a couple days and stepped back, I was like, oh, it feels forced because these chapters are unnecessary. And so I got rid of them.
Wow. Isn't that hard? But that's hard.
It was so hard, but when I did that, because I don't want to give spoilers away. So it was just, it was a scene that I was like, readers are going to want to see this because the main character wants to see this. But the point of view was a different character, which I switched point of views early on in the story. And I think what was messing it up is that by the time everyone comes together, there should be no switching point of views because now everybody's on the same page. And so not only was it slowing down the main action and taking away from the main character, once I took the scene away, I realized readers wanting to see what was going to be there and the main character wanting to see that, I could use that and make it painful for the main character because she had to make the sacrifice not to go do that thing.
Oh, wow.
So it gave like a better like layer, and then I didn't have to write a chapter that was annoying me.
Right.
So it was like
Okay,
win-win.
so here's a question. Do you keep your drafts? I always wonder if writers keep their, like, all the iterations of your drafts.
I don't keep all the iterations. Any huge chunks of scenes like that or chapters, I keep them because I may need parts of them. And also, even if it doesn't fit in the story, it's good for my brain to know what happened during that like off-screen time. But in terms of each draft, I don't tend to keep each draft. I did, but I kept getting confused. So I made the conscious decision for this current book not to do that.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a little OCD that way. I keep them all. I number them and I print them and then I put number 1, number 2, number 3, it's hysterical. And I'm like, okay, why do I do that? I don't know. I guess because of my process is I like to see the how it's changed from the first to the last, right? Like how much did the character grow? How much did the scene change? How, like the story, did it stay consistent or did I pivot? Or like, I just like to go back and go, wow, this grew, this got better. This, it's kind of just a little thing for me to like reflect on how far, like when I did my first draft, it was basically an outline, if you will, and of the novel. And I remember thinking, wow, an 89-page outline. What is wrong with me? And but there was so much that I knew that needed to go in this story, and I needed to flesh it all out. And I kept it. I was like, this is interesting because it kind of set up everything else. But then the story did change. So from the beginning to what is out in the world to read, it's not different, the characters are the same, but the way the story evolved, it pivoted, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is great. But I needed that draft and the second draft and the third to kind of just look, okay, no, that's not working. Cross that out, flesh it out, but then go back and see, wait, what you pulled out, can you add it somewhere? Is there value in it? Did it matter? Like I obsess about writing something and going, oh, that was really good. Why did I get rid of it? And then, so I do keep my drafts.
Yeah. Well, I guess actually, now that I think about it, I guess I do keep some of the drafts because I do handwrite some of the drafts.
Yeah, I do too.
So I actually released a reel last year because we've been cleaning and packing because we're preparing to build our first house. And so I was going through my closet because there was just like containers in there of like old journals and notebooks and all this. And I started going through them and I found old drafts of like really old stories. I found drafts of a story I wrote in high school.
Oh, I
And then
love that.
as I was digging through, I found a map that I drew a couple years ago of the audio drama that I just released of
Oh,
the
wow.
layout in where they are in the arena and stuff where they are. I found the original map of that I had drawn when I was first brainstorming.
Wow.
And that was 7, 8 years ago, maybe longer.
So this is what I find a lot of indie writers or writers in general have in common, that they've been writing since forever. Like they may not have chosen it as a career right away, but they've been writing. You saying that about journals, I have my first journal from fifth grade.
That's awesome.
And yes, and I wrote and this was so crazy. It's very similar to what you're saying. Is I wrote a story about my life. This is a funny story. When I was 8 years old, and it happened because my dad. I went to talk. I was telling my dad that I wanted to be a famous dancer. I was 8 years old, and I said I want to be a famous dancer. And he goes, a dancer? Why don't you go write a book? Write a book about your life. I was 8 years old, and
That's
I
such a weird
wrote
pivot.
a book about my life. And would you believe, after the publication of my second book, 2 years ago, we were cleaning out our garage, and I had a bin of, old memories, same, very similar. And I found the handwritten
Oh, man.
story about my life. And I took a picture of it and I posted it on one of my blogs, because I could not believe that 50 years later, I found this thing that was, it's
Oh,
like in his,
man.
I wrote it in one of those notebooks that you rip the pages out and it's all
Yeah.
frail. So I wrote it in that, and then I put like a little push pin in it. Like you could tell this was very rudimentary. Like this was done by a little girl. The
Yeah.
penmanship was awful. And I write about how my father challenged me to write a book. And so here's my best effort. Like I was hysterical. I was like, I was 8. Who does this at 8? And I
Oh,
thought,
my God.
wow, 50 years later, I was preparing to finish writing my first novel. I couldn't believe it. I was like,
That's wild.
to my husband and my kids' uh, angst, I have every journal I've ever written in my entire life.
Yeah.
And it's boxes.
Yep.
And they're like, what are we doing with this? I'm like, I don't know. You guys figure it out, read it for your amusement, and then get rid of it. I don't care. It's crazy. But we write, we as writers, we're constantly writing.
Yeah.
We don't realize whether it begins with journaling, blogging, posting, writing like there's something in us that go, we have to do this.
Yep.
We have to do this. If not, we stop breathing. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't.
That's
It's very
that's
interesting.
legitimate. That's legitimate. When I
Yeah.
left my full-time job to write full-time, I was doing a bunch of different part-time jobs, but I also got a job as a ghostwriter, and I was ghostwriting romance novels, which I still do.
Mhm.
But that's all I was doing. I wasn't doing any of my own writing, which is what I left to do. And because I wasn't doing that, I got very sick. Like physically ill. Like, so if I don't get these stories out, like my body turns on me.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Wild. And like talking with my therapist, she's like, no, that is part of your living. You're like eating, breathing, sleeping, drinking, and writing. Your writing has to go in there for you.
Yeah, I write every morning before I start my day. I journal at least 2 pages, maybe 3, but the average is 2 pages. And I read, I meditate, I journal, and then before I go to bed, I read. Right now I'm reading 2 books, but it's kind of part of what feeds my soul, feeds my creativity, it informs my writing. You have to read, you have to write to do the best at what you want people to read from yourself. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and actually your story just reminded me that last year my mom called me and she was like, hey, so I was just like cleaning stuff up in the living room and I found
Oh
this
my gosh.
box that has stuff like schoolwork and stuff like that from like first and second grade for
Oh my
you.
gosh.
And there's a story in here. You wrote a story.
Oh
And
my
I was like,
gosh.
please don't read that. I don't know what it is. She's like, I'll hold on to it. I'll give it to you next time I see you. But she was like dying. I was like, well, yeah, you
No,
keep everything, Mom. She's like, and I'm glad I did because now you have this.
yes, it's priceless. It's priceless.
So it's always been
Honest to
there.
goodness. Yes, you don't realize it because you're just life is happening and you're living and you're moving and you're doing all the things. And then when you sit still enough and you're going through stuff, you go, I've always been a writer. You do your life pivots and you do different things, and then you sit down to what it is you've always were supposed to be, whether it's in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And you
Yeah.
go, I've always been a writer.
Yeah.
Like this has been happening since I was a child. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. I find that very interesting when I talk to other writers. I always ask them, do you journal? Like what do you do on a daily to feed and to keep your writing, fresh
Yeah.
and updated and informed
Yeah.
and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even if I don't physically write every single day, I read something I've written, or I brainstorm, or I world build, or take notes, or I just think about it. Like I'm always just thinking about what I'm working on, even if I'm not at the computer doing it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so do you write, when you start writing your books, do you write in longhand or do you go straight to the computer?
It depends. I like to physically jot things down first. I like to open a notebook and then just automatic write. Like just
Yeah.
write
Yeah.
down the idea. Like I have an idea because I'm a huge horror movie fan and I want to write a horror novel at some point. And I came up with this idea and I just opened my notebook and I just wrote like character sheets for the main characters and like notes, and I just kept going until like all the ideas were out and there was like 10 pages front and back of just
Wow.
notes
Yeah.
and like the start of an outline and ideas and things like that. And so that's
Yeah.
usually my go-to, is to make a playlist and then jot stuff down in a notebook.
Yeah. Yeah. Very similar. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always have notebooks for specific things. So my current book is a series and it's about pirates. So I have this like leather bound journal that's
Oh, I
like
love that.
that's like frayed because I had it since 2016 when I started this idea. So like
Oh my
now
gosh.
it's like weathered and I'm still
Oh,
like,
very appropriate though.
yeah, exactly. And then like I have a notebook for when I record these episodes and I take notes, and then I have my
Yeah.
regular journal. So like there's always at least 3 journals near me at all times. And
That sounds about right.
I cannot wait to finally have an office where I could just have them on a desk and not have to move them from pile to pile in the living
Right.
room.
No, I get it. Right now on my desk, I have 2 books, 2 notebooks and a binder and another notebook. And it's just the way I stay organized for what it is that I'm working on. And it's identifiable. It's like, okay, that's a book. Those are to-dos. That's a journal. That's a blog. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
I love being organized, which is why it's so rough not to have a specific writing space because I can't get as organized as I want to be. So like
Right.
that's like my main thing. Like, yes, we're moving, it's gonna be great, we're gonna have our own house, but I'm like, I'm gonna have an office. I can organize it the way I want it to. I can have like things on shelves. Like
It's the best. Oh my goodness. It's the best. It really, really is. Oh my goodness.
yeah, I have right now I only have 2 binders, but they have the scripts of both my audio dramas in them, which have been like edited and recorded already, so it's like almost like a trophy. Like
Yeah. No, it's
I'm
amazing.
like, nope, it's
Oh, I
staying
love
there.
that.
Yeah, so I guess
Right.
that's another draft there because it like those are the scripts we use to record. It's what I use when I'm editing, so you can look back and you can see my notes on them as you
Oh, I
go
love that.
throughout the
Yeah.
story. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
great.
that's why I like keeping my drafts, going back to that, because I write little things on them. I'll circle, like
Yeah,
they look like coloring books because I just like, you use
yeah.
red, you use yellow, the orange, and it's like, it's so crazy. And then I usually, I use Post-its in my writing, like
Yeah.
little ones. So that way, in that particular chapter, what did I keep? What am I taking out? And then I remove them so I know, okay, that chapter was completed with my edits or drafts. Or so there's like this. It's like a visual thing that I have to do for myself to stay organized. But yeah, that's very real.
So, amongst all these notes and drafts, and jumping from fiction to or from nonfiction to fiction, which is so difficult. When you finally wrote your first book, not just the novel, but your first
Yeah,
nonfiction book, what
right.
did that feel like to finally complete that?
It was a little weird, if I'm going to be really honest. I couldn't believe that I had written a book, like an actual book that was going to be published and was going to be out for the world to read. It was sad almost. Like I felt like like I was done with something that I felt like I really wasn't done with, but it was an experience that I wanted to share. So it was a little bit like a sadness. And then when the book came in the mail, I was overwhelmed. I cried. I literally looked at it and said, I did this. I wrote this book. It's got an ISBN. It's in the Library of Congress. Like I
Yeah,
am an author. Like it just
it
hit
hits
me
you.
like a ton of
Yeah,
bricks. Yeah.
it really,
So
really hits you.
I was kind of quiet about it. I cried, and then I got really quiet about it. It was just like, oh my gosh, I did this. So what does this mean? Does this mean I'm an author? Does this mean I keep doing this? Is this who I
Is this
am?
my
It
life
was
now? Like,
yes, exactly. And 3 books later, I'm going, oh, okay, so this is what I do now. This is it. This
this
is
is
the
just who I
truth.
am.
Yes, this is just who I am. This is what I love to do now. And but the first one is usually it's the scariest. It's really the scariest because you believe something, you write something, you publish it, and then you go, okay, I hope it was good enough. Like
Yeah.
and I want, when I was writing that first book, I wanted people to read it and have a takeaway, right? When you're writing a nonfiction, you really want people to have a takeaway from that. Like, what am I taking away from this? How is this going to improve my life? Is it going to change my opinion? Is it going to inform me? And that's kind of the goal I had with this first book about faith. And it's called Unpredictable Outcomes Unmasking My Faith, right? It's like, where do we've put God in these boxes, but where is God, right? Is he really in that box? Is he supposed to be in that box? And so I share this whole epiphany that I had. And it was well received. But then I had a catastrophic event happen in my life that led to the writing of the second book, which was unbelievable. Like the timing, yeah, it was kind of like, ooh, okay, this is weird. But it 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 felt good when I had people who read it who still don't have a faith based persuasion. They enjoyed the read and they said, wow, there was something in there that I didn't think about. You made me think about it differently. You made me see. So that was very rewarding for me as a writer, um, to for people to have that takeaway. But it was gut wrenching. I don't know how to explain. It was kind of like scary. I was
Yeah.
terrified.
I mean, I haven't released a book in a few years because I was doing other projects.
Hmm.
But the ones I did release when I sort of launched officially my indie author career, I had written
Hmm.
those even years prior to releasing them. So I've done so much writing in that time through ghostwriting, which I'm still doing.
Hmm.
And so I think that's kind of why this current book has taken so long, because it's almost like a relaunch. It's almost like launching
Mm,
again, but
yeah.
but in this different writing phase of my life, and it's completely different from anything I've ever written. I have a friend who has read both of my other books and has read some of this book, and
Hmm.
she was just like, wow, like just your language is completely different, in not in
Wow.
a bad way, just in the natural
Right.
progression of growing.
Right.
And
Right.
so like I'm just like, oh god. Like, as someone
That's
who,
exciting though,
it
because
is.
yeah, that's exciting. And that really, for me, that just means there's so much growth in your writing. Like, you know what I mean? Like whatever experiences you've had, there's just a lot more that you're adding and coloring. And, like I think that's because I feel like my second book, I feel it's a great read. Like, I think, wow, it was obviously, it's a different story. It's a different experience that I had, but the writing style, I really appreciated it better than the first book. And then the novel was so different
Yeah.
from anything. Everybody was like, "What the heck? We didn't even know you had this in you. You were
You're like, gee,
so like
thanks.
straight laced." Yeah, like you what? And it was for me. When I released this last book, um, for me it was like beautiful. Like I had a feeling of this is beautiful.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this is beautiful.
I'm getting that
Whatever,
with
however
this
people,
book.
yeah. Yeah, like however people receive it, I know for me this is beautiful. And I had a very different, like the second book, obviously the release of it was courageous. I would use that word for myself. It was courageous, it was heavy, but I needed people to have hope. I was like, I don't think people talk enough about what happens in a home, like when a child, rebels or whatever. And nobody talks about it because they're too embarrassed. Like, oh my gosh, if my child is suffering from something or doing something, or you're just too embarrassed and you don't want to be judged. But my episode in my house was so public that it was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to really tell the truth about what's been going on in my house. And it was heavy. The first one was scary, the second one was heavy, and the third for me was beautiful. Those are the three expressions that I felt when each book was published, when they came out into the world. And so, yeah, I think our writing changes with our age informs us, our life experiences informs our writing, our relationships,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
I mean,
climate, everything.
I've talked about it before, but the audio drama is called Battle Cry, and the
Hmm.
idea for that came about a decade ago. So it was a decade in the making, but I really knew about 2 years ago, that almost three now, that now was the time to work on it. And the content matter became scary relevant to this day and age
Mm.
when it was released.
Mm.
And I was talking with my friend about that, and I was like, now I know why I had that inclination that I needed to do it, because it's relevant. And
Mm.
she's like, well, yeah, you wrote about X, Y, and Z. And I was like, I thought about that a decade ago. Like, she
Wow.
hadn't even thought about that point of view. And she was like, oh my God, no, you're right. And I was like, it's sad that it's still relevant.
Hmm.
And the same thing
Hmm.
with this book that I'm working on. The main character was so different from anything I had thought of before. And she has so much anger that when I first had the idea, I was mid-20s.
Hmm.
I was too naive to process that or to do
Mm.
that story justice. And now here I'm 37, and then I was like, okay, now I know how to write this anger because I've processed my own.
Mm.
and I've
Mhm. Exactly.
and I think also before I was very hesitant to dive into kind of deeper themes or what I perceived as darker themes. But,
Hmm. Hmm.
now in my 30s, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm just
Well,
gonna do
wait till you
it.
hit your 40s and your 50s and 60, and you go, wait a minute, what was I so worried about? Everybody needs to know. We got to tell these
Yes,
stories.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Hmm.
And so the current product of this book is so meaningful to me because it's showing my maturity. Whether people know that or not, I know that. And it's almost like a testament that I can write more mature themes
Hmm. Hmm.
and do it in a way that's respectful, or that's not just for shock value, that it actually has to do with the story. And
Right.
it gave the story layers that I don't think I would have had if I had kept the original draft from however long ago it was, 8 years at this point, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that. Our writing evolves like anything else, and it's a good thing. That's why I figure probably my next book is going to be better than this one
Yeah.
because the experience of having written a novel, even though I do want to write nonfiction again, and I have so many, like now I have a list of things that I want to keep writing about, and but it just everything informs your writing. You don't realize relationships, marriage, kids. It becomes the creative process of which you start writing, and
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I love it.
There's a
Good for you.
scene. The story is about pirates, and so there's a scene or there's a chapter where I'm introducing the pirate crew that my main character is sailing with. And I made a very conscious decision with two of the characters that they're brothers, and one of them is autistic because my son is autistic. And
There you
I
go.
realized I had set that up unintentionally in the beginning. So, like in the first drafts, so I leaned into it. And I used all the language that, autistic families use or people with autism use to be like, no, this is actually what's going on. And I had somebody sort of read through that chapter and they're like, well, like all the description of the crew, and you can probably cut that down. And I was like, no, because there's a very specific reason why I'm putting that much detail in.
Right.
Because they
Right.
weren't looking at it from that point of view. And I'm like, A, these characters are going to be reoccurring. And B, it's important. Like, so, no, I'm not cutting down their description. It's there for a reason.
Yeah. That's so smart.
And I would not have been able to do that a few years ago. I would have been like, okay. Like, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
and granted, yes, please tell me what to cut because this is a beast. It's like 300 something pages. I know I need to trim, but
Right,
there's
right,
certain,
right.
but there's certain things that are there for a reason and
Non-negotiables. Yeah.
that are gonna
Yeah.
make a difference to other people.
Yeah. No, you're right. You are absolutely right.
Well, since this is a writing advice podcast, I like to ask
Hmm.
my guests, what is the
Yeah.
best or worst piece of writing advice you've ever received?
The best, I don't think I've ever gotten the worst. The best, I'll have to think about that one. But the best writing advice I received was to not edit as I write. Like just vomit on the page. Don't worry about what you wrote in that moment. Just keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. Because at the end, you're going to flesh it out. But there might be some good stuff there that you're editing that you should have kept, or So I have the bad habit of, or had, of fixing it as I was writing. Fix it as you write. Fix it as you go. And this particular person said, no, just write everything that comes out of you. Write it all on the page. And then when you think you're done, read it and read it again and read it again. And then allow yourself to kind of trim it and then create the story. But I think that was, I didn't, I think that really helped me. The other thing that somebody told me was read your story out loud.
Yes, that's a big one. That makes a difference. Yeah.
Yes. And that was a game changer for me because when I did, it was so fascinating because when you're reading it to yourself, you're like, oh, you're reading it in your head, or
Yeah.
even I tried the playback on the computer, the word, and it didn't sound right to me. I was like, this sounds so weird. So I decided to sit at my dining table and read this story, which at that point it was, I would say, 99.9% ready to go. And the person said to me, read it before you send it out, read it out loud, hear the words. And there was a point when I was doing that I started to cry. And it was like a disassociation with what I was reading. Like I no longer was the author, but the reader. And I started to cry and I started to feel for the character. And I felt so bad for that person. And I was like, oh my goodness, if she only knew.
Yeah.
And that was an aha moment for me. And I thought it's ready, because if I had that reaction and I wrote it and I know what's
Yeah.
going to happen,
Yeah.
100 pages later, this is good. And
Yeah.
so that was the moment, literally, that was the moment when I said to myself, it's ready. Because if I had that visceral reaction towards this character's plight, then I realized the reader they will have it too. And so that for me was huge. It was huge. So I would say those two. I can't say that I've had bad writing advice. I don't think, I can't say that someone's ever said something to me that I thought, really? So I've been fortunate enough that people along the way who have written books themselves have given me well thought out advice.
Yeah, I haven't had much terrible advice. I just like asking the question because I had
Yeah.
somebody be like, "Oh, well, I could tell you the worst piece of advice." I was like, "Oh, please, tea, dish." I
Oh,
want to know.
well, thankfully, I've I've been around people who are have written books and been successful in
Yeah.
their writing careers, and so they've given me chunks of advice that I've gone, I'm going to try that out. Listen, not everything is for everyone. Somebody may suggest something that I go, yeah, I don't think that fits my writing style or the way I write or approach writing. But then there's other things that I go, oh, I like that. I like that concept of reading out loud or writing and writing and writing and writing and writing and then going back
Yeah, and
and reading
you like speaking. I mean, our whole conversation is about evolution and evolving as
it.
a writer, and a lot of advice you get, you evolve to fit your needs. Like for me,
Exactly.
writing every day just doesn't work because I'm doing
Right.
so many other different things.
Right.
And my brain is constantly going. So I kind of need days to just stop thinking. And not editing as you go is a really good one. But
Yeah.
I evolved it to be like, I write chunks of chapters and then I go back and edit that chunk. And then I move on to the next chunk of chapters.
Yes.
But I don't go from the beginning again until I'm like halfway done.
Right.
But I have to do that for ghostwriting because I had a pseudo deadline for that. So I kind of have to
Wow.
I have to be on the
Wow.
ball with that. But in terms of worst advice, I haven't had anything like most authors I speak to, like you were saying, are so helpful and are
Yeah.
just so interested in helping. The only bad writing advice I have gotten is from people who don't write.
Right. Of course, because you're looking at them going, do you know how hard this is?
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
you kidding me right now?
And I'm not going to take that advice because you have no idea what you're talking about.
Exactly. Exactly. You're looking at them like, okay, I'm
Okay,
moving on.
Yeah, all right. It's like, oh, you're a writer. Go write this thing. Not how it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Not how it works.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
At my old
Yes.
job, that's literally everything my old boss used to do. He's like, oh, you're a writer. Write this thing. And I was like, I write stories. I don't write marketing copy. I don't know how to write responses to guests. Like, that's not how this works. Like,
Yeah.
just drives
Yeah.
you insane. That's when you just go, okay. And then in your head, you're just like, I'm not ever listening to anything you say.
Yes, you're like, moving on.
You're like, keep
Next.
going.
Exactly. No, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It is. Well, this has been delightful. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Thank you so, so much for having me.
Where can people find you online?
Okay, so I have a website and it's AnnetteOrtizMata.com, AnnetteOrtizMata.com. And it's like a one-stop shop. It's like a landing page. You could see where all my books are. You could see the blogs, where I will be with my latest book, The Secrets Who Keep the Lies We Tell, my appearances, what's coming up for the book. April is pretty exciting. May, June. The next 3 months, I have booked appearances twice a month for the next 3 months, which is enough.
Yeah, that's
It kind of
crazy.
is steady. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, what am I doing? So, so that's been really exciting for the book. So yeah, if you go on my website, everything is there, and it'll connect you to where you can purchase books. There, my latest book is on all the online platforms. So it's available for purchase now, and I think it's a pretty good read.
It's on my Kindle as we speak.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'd love feedback from other authors.
Will. And I will definitely put your website link in the description of the episode. Again,
you
Annette,
so
thank you so much
much.
for joining me. This is delightful. We probably could have just kept talking for like another 3 hours.
I know. I'm like, I have so much more to say. No, that's okay. We will not belabor this. This was great.
This is a reminder that I do have a Patreon. Patrons receive episodes up to 2 days earlier than the general public. There are exclusive blogs and podcast episodes that are only found on Patreon. You'll also receive discounts on writing services, behind-the-scenes tidbits for Battle Cry, including access to our blooper reel, access to my Discord server, and shout-outs in future podcast episodes. So head over to patreon.com/Leani M. Lopez or check out the link in the description. All right, thank you everybody for listening. And as always, happy writing.